In the heart of Cameroon, a lake rests. It's called Lake Nyos. It sits within a volcanic crater. Steep green hills rise around its edges. These hills cradle the water like a precious jewel. The surface often appears calm. It mirrors the vast African sky above. Birds might sing in the nearby trees. The air might feel peaceful, almost serene. This beauty, however, hides a terrible power. A power unseen, a power that can kill silently. Lake Nyos is a crater lake. It was formed by volcanic activity long ago. Deep beneath its tranquil surface, magma still heats the earth. This volcanic heart feeds gases into the lake's depths. Carbon dioxide, invisible, odorless. It dissolves into the cold bottom waters. Year after year, the gas builds. Layer upon layer of water traps it. The pressure mounts slowly, quietly. A deadly concentration grows, waiting for a trigger. A silent threat in a picturesque land. The local villagers lived nearby. They farmed the fertile volcanic soil. They fished in other waters. Lake Nyos itself was a place of quiet respect. Perhaps some stories hinted at its strangeness, but no one truly understood the danger it held. The lake was a feature of their landscape, a seemingly permanent, peaceful presence. They could not know what was accumulating below. They could not see the invisible peril. The stillness was a deception. For decades, the lake collected its deadly secret. The carbon dioxide levels increased. The deep water became a saturated solution, like a soda bottle, but immensely larger and far more dangerous. Any disturbance could unleash it. A landslide, an earthquake, even a sudden change in temperature. The people living around its shores were unaware. They went about their daily lives, under the shadow of a natural time bomb. The countdown was nearing its end. The evening of August 21st, 1986 began like any other. Villagers in Nyos, Kam, Cha and Subum settled down. The sun set over the green hills, families gathered, cattle rested in their pens, the air was still. Then something changed. A rumble, a strange noise from the lake. Some survivors later spoke of it. A sound like thunder, perhaps, or a strange bubbling from the water. Few understood what it meant. It was the beginning of the horror. Suddenly the lake unleashed its fury. A massive cloud of carbon dioxide erupted. It burst from the depths with incredible force. The gas, heavier than air, formed a dense, invisible wave. It was hundreds of meters high. It surged over the rim of the crater. It flowed silently down the valleys, spreading out. Hugging the ground, it moved with terrifying speed. A silent, suffocating tide. It was death rolling across the land. No one could see it coming. The gas cloud swept through the nearby villages. It displaced the oxygen in the air. People and animals began to choke. They gasped for breath, but there was no good air to breathe. Many were asleep in their homes. They never woke up. Others, alerted by strange sounds or smells, tried to flee, but the invisible killer was faster. It offered no escape. Panic, confusion, then silence. A terrible, unnatural silence descended upon the valleys. The experience was terrifying. Survivors described a feeling of warmth, then a rotten egg smell, hydrogen sulfide mixed with the CO2, then blackouts. People simply collapsed where they stood. Children, adults, the elderly, livestock too, cows, goats, chickens, all succumbed to the deadly gas. The cloud hugged the ground, so even those on higher ground were not safe if the cloud was thick enough. It was a swift, brutal, and utterly silent killer. Nature's unseen weapon. Scientists rushed to understand this catastrophe, what could cause such sudden widespread death. The answer lay in the lake's unique geology. Lake Nyos is a meromictic lake. This means its water layers do not mix. The bottom water is cold, dense, and rich in dissolved minerals, and, crucially, carbon dioxide. The gas seeps from volcanic vents below. It gets trapped by the pressure of the water above. For years it had been accumulating, a deadly pressurized reservoir. This phenomenon is called a limnic eruption. The trigger in 1986 is still debated. Perhaps a landslide into the lake, or a small earthquake, or even a gradual build-up that reached a tipping point. Whatever the cause, the deep, gas-rich water was disturbed. It rose to the surface. As it rose, the pressure decreased. The dissolved CO2 came out of solution. Violently, like opening a shaken bottle of soda, a massive bubble of gas erupted. Over 1 cubic kilometer of CO2 was released. The immediate aftermath was grim. Rescuers arrived to a shocking scene. Villages were silent. Bodies lay where they had fallen. An estimated 1,746 people died. Thousands of cattle perished. The air still hung heavy with the lingering gas in low areas. Survivors were dazed, confused, suffering from respiratory problems. The scale of the human toll was immense. The invisible gas had left a visible trail of devastation. It was a tragedy unlike any seen before, a natural disaster of a chilling kind. The world learned a new term, Lake Overturn. The scientific community focused on Nyos. They studied its deadly potential. They realized other lakes around the world might pose similar threats. Lake Menace, also in Cameroon, had a smaller eruption in 1984. It killed 37 people. This was a warning. Lake Kivu on the border of Rwanda and the DRC holds even more gas. The science was clear. These lakes were not just bodies of water, they were potential killers. The disaster at Lake Nyos spurred action. Something had to be done. The lake could build up gas again. Another eruption was possible. Scientists and engineers developed a plan. They would degar the lake, carefully, safely. In 2001, the first degassing pipe was installed. It reached down into the CO2-rich bottom layers. It created a siphon effect. Water saturated with gas rose up the pipe. The gas escaped into the atmosphere harmlessly, like a controlled release. More pipes followed. These artificial geysers now continuously vent the dangerous gas. They prevent it from reaching critical concentrations. The lake is being slowly tamed. The risk of another massive eruption is significantly reduced. Monitoring systems are in place. Sensors track CO2 levels. Alarms can warn nearby communities. This is a testament to human ingenuity, a response to a devastating natural threat. The silent killer is being watched, its deadly breath controlled. However, the work is not over. The degassing needs to continue for many years. The pipes require maintenance. The monitoring must be constant. Awareness is crucial. People in the region need to understand the lake. They need to know the warning signs. Preparedness plans are essential. Evacuation routes, safety protocols. The memory of 1986 must serve as a constant reminder. Complacency is not an option. Nature's power is immense. Respect is mandatory. The story of Lake Nyos is a stark warning. It shows how beautiful nature can also be deadly. It highlights the hidden dangers that can lurk beneath calm surfaces. The lessons learned are vital for Cameroon. For other regions with similar lakes, we must invest in science. We must support safety measures. We must educate communities. The silent killer of Lake Nyos was unmasked. Now we must remain ever vigilant. The future safety of many depends on it.